how you met the first time C-Loc back in the day?
That's what you was asking. Okay. The truth is, man, with Loc being from a different part of my neighborhood, we ain't necessarily grow up next door neighbors somewhere around. South Baton Rouge is kind of big and small if you're from there. So I didn't meet Loc till like about middle school. I want to say I was 11 and he was about 12 years old. He's like a year older than me, and we knew that ever since then. But he was the same kid that we grew from and had the rap dream. He always wanted to be a DJ. So my thing was always the rap thing. I DJ in the background and had, turntables ever since a kid and that type of thing, and, and production and so on and so forth. But it was a thing around middle school that I was the rapper and Loc was my DJ. Loc was really my big bro and homeboy, and street beefs and all kind of shit. Yeah, if you had a problem with me, he'll probably catch you before I can catch up to you, and it's going to be physical. And he was a monster as a kid, you know what I mean? And, I stayed with his mother. He done lived, a weekend with my mother. We'd do that type of thing and be at wars with neighborhoods, 3 and 4 deep. Shout out to Ruben Pierre, my best friend since the 3rd grade. We always from South Baton Rouge, and we moved to the east side of Mayfair and was about 11 years old. And we used to have a problem with the east side and north side guys just being from the other part of town. And that was on Sugar Slim them and all the OG gangsters in our town years before us. So just, Monkey see, Monkey do, just like Crippin' and Blood. And we most say hood banging Baton Rouge. Shreveport is our gang capital, due to the California lineage. A lot of guys is rooted from the South, Mississippi, and beyond. But definitely through Shreveport, you'll see more of that in New Orleans in the late 80s, early 80s or something like that. They was wearing colors. But Baton Rouge was a different dynamic. We knew different guys from different parts of town because how our swag or how we dressed. Who was from where without the colored rag. And if we had a problem, you could be at the stay fast. And it was all kind of, when I look back now, these boys with guns, big, everything get aired out. I spent a lot of those numerous nights just coming up like that. But sign up to say this, me and Loc went to the same middle school, Kenilworth Middle, not necessarily the same elementary school. And we stayed partners, but, we was kids, and we was just learning to get money, you know what I mean, and definitely that type of money. So we couldn't afford the right equipment and different things. He didn't have any turntables that I knew about, so we never did talent shows or nothing together. And later in life, we'll split apart again after middle school. Whatever high school he went to, I went to 2 different high schools, Woodlawn High and back to my, native roots in South Baton Rouge and McKinley High, you know what I mean? And both was Panthers. So in that sense, I hook up later on with Loc somewhere like in the early 90s. We was in the hood together. I moved back to the hood, and, we was doing our street things, so we'll see each other on the block and come by each other's crib every now and again. While I was doing my tapes, I didn't know he was building a record company. And he pulled up to my crib one day and said, hey, man, you still doing the rap thing? He was working on Who's Gonna Ride, his very first solo album. And I was like, hell yeah. He said, well, I want you to come to the studio with me and come here, what I've been working on. So he take me out to a nice crib, and just, soccer balling, what we say out here, soccer balling back then, doing real good for itself, on dating the whole 9 in Baton Rouge, different than California. That was a big thing, and the whole clique of guys that we come from, and, I'm going to keep the names out the books. It's real in the field. But here again, saying that to say this, I got a chance to listen to 90% or so of Who's Gonna Ride, and he had a blank on the record. And I was like, well, definitely, I want to get on the record. So I was saying, if you know his song, No Mercy, I was saying, it's wicked when I kick it wicked, you don't hear me, though. I was listening to his record. I was freestyling that in the corner. He said, what's that you saying? I said, said what I just said. And he said, man, put that in the hook for me. So I ended up getting on the Who's Gonna Ride record, being on the hook of No Mercy. Then he brought me an instrumental and told me to ghostwrite a whole song. Everybody knew I was good with the pen since a kid. So I ended up writing Never Say Die, me, him, and Lee Time. Shouts out to my brother Lee Time. But we did that record, and it started to just go bananas through the town and surrounding areas that heard it. So that started to reblow C-Loc records. He had a couple of hits, Houndwood and all that in the beginning. So a lot of our slang that you hear me saying and how you do that, it came from that gumbo pot of the chemistry with Loc, the chemistry with Lee Time, Lay Low, and so on and so forth. And then we grew into a mass clique that went from Louisiana to Mississippi to Alabama and was other members. So I decided one day we need a name that's more a clique name instead of everything being C-Loc, because now you're not just the only artist. So I come up with the concentration camp, being that I'm born on June 6th, studied the diary Anne Frank, and and the Holocaust and all that type of thing. And my granddaddy believed was in World War II. So that was my evolution,
Sickness song video was dope too.
Yes, indeed. Yeah, you're right.
Yes, sir. Yeah, you dropped it also. Nice to take Killer Instinct to sit up on the whatever album. It was a dope song too.
Yeah, the Killer Instinct. That's the second. That's the second song on the second C-Loc album called Whatever, and I ghost wrote that too. You know what I mean? It was like a part two of the Never Say Die. Before we will eventually go into the compilation self-titled Concentration Camp, where everybody started to branch beyond just featuring on the record with C-Loc. He gave us an opportunity for everybody to do their own solo joint. And here again, the birth of a fool, originally named, because I said, hey man, when people hear this, they're gonna say this song is a fool. I said, well, that's what I'm gonna call it. But based off of like the King T, Act the Fool, Johnny Guitar Watson, you know what I mean? That old school West Coast hip hop and some East Coast hip hop. I used some Public Enemy drum, and Aretha Franklin, Earth, Wind & Fire, man, Happy produced that track together. And Parliament, of course, you know what I mean? And that was my solo effort for the first time outside of just collaborating with Loc and whoever on the C-Loc projects. And it was super starting from that point on.
Make sure to subscribe to the channel, hit the bell for notifications, like, comment, share. Also go over to UGSforlife.com, download the entire archive, and check out new episodes on Apple Podcasts and Blog Talk Radio.